Hi, so today's video is mainly for coaches that coach team sports. Now, you could be a coach in football, rugby, it could be cricket, it could be hockey, it could be American football, or any of those sports. And this is a very short video on virtual coaching. And the reason why I came up with this is because I thought athletes need some sort of stimulation and to keep in touch with their sport. So it's a very simple thing that you need to do as coaches. You need to make 4 sorts of cards, and then you need to have all your athletes on video call, and I will explain further what you need to do. So in this virtual coaching session, what you need to do is you need to have 4 types of cards. The first one is time. So you need to write on the card what would be the duration that is left in the game. Now, time is a very important aspect because it creates pressure on the athlete, and it could also change how an athlete thinks about the game, and it really affects their decision making, really. So you need to write down, you need to make 4 sets or 5 sets of card which all have time written on it, and behind each one of them you need to write the amount of duration. So it could be 10 minutes left in the game, it could be 2 minutes left in the game, it could be start of the game, it could be end of the game. So it could be just anything you think fits really well for different athletes in your team. And of course, it could also come from past experiences where things have been very crucial at certain points in the game. So you could put that as a challenge. The second thing you need to put is position. So you need to make 4 or 5 sets of cards where you have different positions. Now, this could be position of the athlete. Most athletes know what position they play. So you could decide beforehand, before you start the game, what people's positions are going to be. Okay. But this position is mainly to do with which part of the field you're on. So are you in the middle of the field? Are you in the defense area? Are you in the attacking zone? Are you at the edge of the field? So what's the position on the field that the athlete is on? And this is for one certain athlete, because one athlete is going to choose a time card, a position card. They're going to choose an obstruction or challenge. This one's very interesting. So you've given them time, so how much duration is left in the game. You've given them what position they are at, and then you need to create some obstruction or challenge situations. And this is a very interesting one because I have put down some of my ideas, and I thought it could either be a defender or a certain athlete that they really hate or they're really scared of. It could also be that they've just had a fight with someone, they've just been in an argument, and now they've got to complete this big obstruction or a cloud in their head. It could also be having a strong goalkeeper, or it could be against a team that they have a mental block against. So certain athletes do think that they find it harder to play against certain teams. So their challenge could be that you're playing against so-and-so team. You have so-and-so athlete near you, or you have this particular goalkeeper who's really strong. If that athlete is somebody who plays a forward. So you need to create some cards based on what obstruction or challenges you would want your athletes to think about. So it can stimulate their minds about future situations that they might face in future games. And the last one is aim or objective. So once you've given them the challenge, then you need to have 4 or 5 different cards based on aim or objective. So what do you want them to do in that situation? Would you want them to pass the ball to somebody? So it could be things like, I've put down some things. So it's going ahead with a certain tactic. So something they've learned very recently in the last season or so, and what tactics should they use in that situation? It could be scoring a goal. It could be creating a gap. It could be defend a strong player. So it could be that they're in a certain position and they need to defend this player. They need to make sure they're defending really well against this particular player. If they're they play defense position. So once you've created these cards, what you need to do is you need to have all your athletes on video call, and each athlete will choose one from each card. So one from each of these sets, they will choose that. And then what will happen is you give them 10 seconds to 30 seconds to think about the situation. And then they will describe exactly what they're going to do in that situation. And all the other athletes on video call, when they're listening to that athlete, they're going to mark them out of 10. But the athlete who's describing gets only 1 minute to do it. So they get only 1 minute to create that situation in their mind and then really just talk about what exactly they're going to do. And other athletes will have a chance at the end of the 1 minute to challenge this athlete on how would you have done this or how would you have done that. Now, I really like this game of virtual coaching because I think athletes never really get time to strategize, to plan, to manage their game, and they never really get a chance to create situations in their mind. What could happen in this game? What could happen in that game against that team? And these are the kind of things that athletes should be doing on a regular basis. And a role of a sports psychologist is to make sure that athletes get that time to play these kind of games and do these kind of things. It's not just about, keeping in touch with the game, but this type of a game can also stimulate a lot of neuropathways in their mind and create new neuropathways. And when they're in that situation or that position, it will really give them a very clear idea of what they need to do. It could also help their decision making. It could also be a fun way to have a bit of competition in the group amongst the athletes, because all the athletes will score each athlete out of 10. And sometimes they could come up with some really weird situations because when you have these 4 cards, hope you can see them. So when you have these 4 cards and they've chosen one from each, it could kind of create a really weird situation. So it could be things like you've got 2 minutes left in the game. You are in the attacking position, and then the challenge could be you have a really partial referee, and then your challenge could be to score the goal or to pass it to the player who will then score the goal. So these are the kind of situations it will come up with when you play this game. And of course, they have to describe exactly what they're going to do. And the better the description, the more, points they get, and they get marked by their peers, which is really amazing as well as a competition for them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a really short video. It's a very simple game that I think all team players can play, and you can just come on video call and just have a little bit of a session on it. And of course, as a coach, you get a chance to see how well your athletes are communicating. It can also stimulate a lot of visualization skills and a lot of positive visualization, because of course, when you come up with these situations, when the athletes are coming up with solutions and fulfilling their objectives and aims to overcome that challenge, it is generally based on, their positive thinking that they can accomplish it. So the harder you make the challenges, the more they're going to feel, they're going to think about it, they're going to visualize it, and then they're going to feel like a sense of accomplishment within them. Even though it's not real, your mind actually will create new neural pathways to think that situation has actually happened. And when they are in that situation, it'll really help them. So really short video, really short game. I hope you can play that with your team athletes, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, just write to me. If you have any questions about it, do write back to me. All the details are down below in the video. So have a good week ahead, and do try this with your athletes. And if you do find it fun and interesting, then please do get back to me. I would love some feedback on it. So take care and have a good week. Bye-bye.